It's the most fun a robot can have indoors. It's here. It's now. It's Robot Wars.
Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we're going to talk about Warhammer 40,000 Forgebane, which is the Necrons versus Admech box game that was leaked a little while ago, or at least hinted at in a list what we covered. And I'm sorry, I'm making myself slightly laugh in the back of my head because I know I'm going to edit a stupid intro to this video, and I'm now laughing at the thing I haven't done yet, which is very meta and quite worrying as a human being to actually have that experience. Anyway, daft. So, this box, it's been kind of floating around for a while that there would be a Necron versus Admech box, and I was hopeful for it, and I was hoping that it would be a thing, but there was also an element of caution, an element of doubt, because it would be a box without power armour in any way, shape or form, which would be kind of weird, because that is not traditionally something that Games Workshop goes for. They do like the old power armour, as we know. There were a couple of things that came out to kind of support the idea of it at the very least. The timing of the Necron Codex, if that list was to be believed, was one of them. There was also the unveiling of a new Cryptek and a Imperial Knight Armour Warglaive. And I speculated at the time, and I feel like I want to say, I said way back then that this was definitely going to be a thing. But that would be a lie. I didn't say that. I just hoped it would. And I said it would be kind of quality, and it would support the idea if this new Cryptek and this new Armour were in a box together. If they were part of the same Necron vs Admech box, that would be kind of cool, that'd be funky, and it's possible, it's plausible at the very least. It turns out my hopeful musings were kind of on like spot on, pretty much. I'm staggering over my words because I'm still reeling from the shock of that being something that's actually happened. Two seemingly brand new models appearing in a campaign box that has got nothing to do with Space Marines. My brain is still kind of going, are you sure this isn't just a lie? Because, I mean, come on, historically, when have we seen stuff like this before? This is a big departure, in a good way, obviously. And also, it looks pretty damn good, the box context, the quality. So let's have a look. Okay, so this is the back of the Forgebane box, and as you can see, I mean, you could probably pick them out just about if you ignore the glare there. That's clearly Canoptech Wraiths. Luckily, there's no glare over the contents off to the side. So, we have one Necron Cryptek with Canoptech Cloak. That's interesting because that has been specifically worded in the description, which it strikes me as a bit odd, unless that is a new piece of war gear, which is entirely possible. I'm not a Necron player. The last time I played Necrons was when they had the first codex in 3rd, so literally the majority of the stuff that is there on that box I don't believe existed when I played Necrons. There was no such thing as Canoptech Wraiths, they were just Wraiths, and Lichguard didn't exist. So I'm a bit out of touch when it comes to Necron war gear, but one Cryptek with Canoptech Cloak, which I'm assuming that is a new piece of war gear. I could be completely wrong on that. Let me know in the comments below. 5 Necron Immortals, 5 Necron Lichguard, 3 Necron Canoptech Wraiths. Then we have 10 Adeptus Mechanicus Skitarii Rangers, 1 Adeptus Tech Priest Dominus, Adeptus Mechanicus, sorry, and 2 Imperial Knight Armour Warglaives. That, to me, is one of the biggest surprises outside the fact that this box exists in the first place. 2 of these things. Not 1, 2. Which kind of raises some interesting questions to begin with. Chiefly, how much are they going to cost? Like, how much is this box going to cost? I did a quick tally up, and the contents of the Necron side of the box, if we assume that the Cryptek is going to follow the same kind of pricing structure as the most recent HQ releases from Games Workshop, probably between like 20 and 25 quid. The Immortals, Lichguard, and Canoptech Wraith between them come to around £70, because it's £20.50 for each of these, which would take you to 41 quid. Then it's 28.50. Yeah, that's maths. So around £70 for those 3, and like those 3 squads. And then if we added, like, say, if we just do a guesstimate of 20 quid for the Cryptek, that would take it to about £90 for the Necron side of things. Now, where it gets interesting is, I think he's around 25 quid, and I think these are about either £20 or 25 as well. So if we say 50 quid at most, 40 quid at least for those two squads, assuming both sides of the box are split evenly in terms of monetary value, that means these things are dirt cheap for what they are. Alternatively, and this is the more likely scenario, these are actually the most expensive things by far in the box, and kind of you're getting quite a lot of this for, in a relative way, free. I cannot see those two Knight Armigers going for any less than, say, a Redemptor Dreadnought. I just cannot see that being the case. They're too big to be less than that. On a side note, I think if you look at the size of the Skitarii Rangers next to that thing, I think I was pretty much there with the guess as to the height of these things. I still think, looking at that it's probably going to come up to about the head cowling on a standard Imperial Knight. That looks to be the most likely. There are a couple more pictures, so we'll take a quick look at those before we try and get fully on into the guessing game as to how much this thing will cost. Oh, also, you get a 40-page, better not forget this bit, the 40-page Forgebane rulebook, which to me cements the idea that this is a full-on campaign box. It has got its own narrative, it's got its own structure. The pull-out Warhammer 40k core rules sheet, and a couple of decal sheets for the Necrons, the Knight Armigers, and the Skitarii. So you're getting a full thing there, which honestly, I'm really liking the contents of this thing. I'm really liking them. Okay, so we've got some sprues for added evidence that this is not a load of old Scrollocs, which, to be honest, I think that other picture is fairly comprehensive. If it was a mock-up, it would be an incredibly well done, with lots of effort put in mock-up. So yeah, okay, so we've also got some sprues here where you can see what the deal is, and you can see that this is not like a start collecting thing. Not a start collecting thing. It's not like the Dark Imperium box. It's not like a starting campaign kit. It's not easy to build. These are just the full-on sprues by the look of it. Canoptech Wraith down there, I think, or is that the Cryptek? No, that's the Cryptek there, isn't it? I was looking at that, but that's also the Cryptek. Yeah, so that's the Cryptek. That's his little spider scarab disc floaty device, whatever the hell that is. I still don't know exactly what that's called. It's just his floaty bit, although it seems to be attached to him, so maybe it's just part of him. Who knows? And then we've got the Knight Armiger sprue right there. In fact, what am I talking about? Of course that's the bloody Cryptek, because that's the Knight Armiger. They're just showing off the new stuff. I'm off my face. Look, it's too early for this. Anyway, it's really not. It's not too early at all. I'm overexcited. It doesn't happen often. Let me have this. Let me have it. I'm overexcited. So yeah, there's another angle of all the sprues for the Knight Armiger as well. So there is not a hint of like easy to build stuff about this. This is a full-on campaign box with full-on sprues, I'd imagine, for absolutely everything, which, to be honest, is exactly what we want. So, how much is it going to cost? Your guess is as good as mine, if I'm honest. Without knowing the cost of the Armigers, it's kind of tricky to pin down, because if you look at the Necron side of the box, as I say, that's like 90 quid's worth of stuff. If you look at the Adeptus Mechanicus side of the box, even if my prices are off for the Tech Priest Dominus, and in my back of my head, I'm sure he's like 25 quid. I'm sure he's more expensive than I think he is. And the Skitarii Rangers, even if you go conservative and say 40 quid, that would still mean that to match the value of the Necron side of the box, the Armigers would have to be, what, £25 each? That does not seem likely at all. I think the Admech side of this is going to be way more expensive in terms of monetary value. Like, it's going to be worth more than the Necron box by quite a considerable amount at that. And that really does make it tricky to pin down exactly how much this is going to cost. And to be honest, just the contents of this, it's not going to be as cheap as the Dark Imperium box for what you get. That much I am absolutely sure of. Like, I don't want to make some sort of full-on prediction as to real cost, but I don't think there's a chance in hell that this thing is going to be 95 quid, because these are full sprues. They are new units. It's a proper campaign box. I'd be incredibly shocked if this turned out to be the same cost as the Dark Imperium box. I would put it more expensive than that. But the question is how much before it starts getting unreasonable. One of the key things about these things, one of the things that makes them so successful, is that people will buy them and split them and divide them. They'll, say, oh, well, I want the Admech stuff, my friend plays Necrons. I mean, that's the situation I'm in. A good friend of mine plays Necrons. So if he wanted to, I would absolutely go halves on this. Because I want those Knight Armigers. I want those to go with my Imperial Knight back there. I reckon, I don't know, I would guess at about £130 for this, to be honest. I could be totally off though, I could be completely wrong. It would not surprise me if I am completely wrong. It is just a total guesstimate, and the reason it's a total guesstimate is purely because we just don't know the value of those Armigers, or at least we don't know the cost. The value is kind of subjective, isn't it? But yeah, I would be very surprised if it was the same price as the Dark Imperium box. I would assume a bit more expensive. I would be absolutely thrilled if it was only 95 quid, because that would be a ridiculous deal. That would be really, really good, because you'd be getting, I mean, hell, you'd be, just the Necron army alone would be about that much in separate boxes. And this has got an entire separate force alongside that. So, yeah, with that in mind, I think it's going to be more expensive. But I will say, as I said, the contents look really good. And we should not overlook the sheer progress in front of us right now. This is a campaign box that has got nothing to do with power armor. There's no chaos. There's no Space Marines. There's none of that. These are two factions that, yes, one of them is Imperium based, but it's also Admech, which are pretty fucking out there for Imperium stuff, like way further out there than anything else. They're like the closest thing, I think, to a Xenos race that the Imperium can have, just because they're so outlandish and so crazy, and they just don't look human. They don't look Imperium. I think that shows a definite sign of progress. There's, faith being put into this box that it will sell, and it will sell well and be worth the effort. And this could well open the door, if it's successful, for other things like this that don't have to involve bloody power armor. So I'm all in favour of this thing, all in favour of it. I'll be really, really interested to see how much it costs. That's going to be the biggest thing to find out from this point on. Yeah, I'm happy with this, and I'm also surprised still that there are two of the new Knight Armigers in there. I really thought there'd only be one. That also does make me wonder what their rule sets are going to be in terms of, points cost, weapon skill, wounds, toughness, all of that. I mean, it's just interesting. It answers many questions, this box, but it also opens a few up as well. So I'm going to look forward to seeing the actual stats on these things, because getting two in this box is an interesting decision. Anyway, what do you reckon? Happy about this? Not happy? Think it looks good? You're going to buy it regardless of whether you've got someone to split it with, or are you going to go the eBay method and just sell off the bits you don't want? Be interested to hear what you think about this one. Let me know in the comments below, and in the meantime, feel free to click any of the things in front of you. There's a couple of videos, subscribe, Patreon, all of that shit. Click if you like, don't click if you don't want to, and I will see you for the next one. Toodaloo.